Hello and welcome back to another great episode of hashtag Screw the W2. I'm your host as always, John Rickgarn. And today I got on a very interesting investor with a very interesting life story. Real name Tom Brookman. We actually connected on Twitter. I can't remember which mutual account or how exactly, but joys of social media and social networks, it happens. You can actually follow along him as well. His Twitter handle is the Frugal Gay 11, and as we're recording this, he is at over 40,000 followers, so he's quite a bit farther ahead than I am. So with that, Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I have connected over on Twitter. That's my stomping ground. I built my squad over there, and it's kind of taken off in the past year.
Cool. Yeah, very good. Yeah, LinkedIn's kind of my number one. I've been concentrating more on Instagram and YouTube, but yeah, Twitter, it's amazing the growth on that as well. And if by some slim chance, Elon Musk, if you're listening to this, thank you for purchasing it and all that you've done with the platform in the last couple months. So. All right. Well, with that, Tom, maybe you can start off with, I know this is obviously a couple of years ago, but can you take us back to what was your previous or last W-2 job and what was like an average day for you?
Absolutely. So it was actually just a year ago. I just passed my year.
Just a
It
year.
was
Okay.
Yeah, it was January of 22 when
Okay.
I finally left, and I was a movie theater manager for just over 15 years. I
Okay.
ran several different movie theaters around Texas, and I today was Thursday, so I would typically be doing a film schedule, getting ready for the weekend, making sure everything's in stock. I work Thursday mornings typically, and then go back Thursday evenings for the new movies that opened. So I would just kind of be making sure that my ducks are in a row before the weekend, and that's
Gotcha.
a typical make sure that the film keys are unlocked and all that. And
All right.
I haven't been in a theater in over a year, so it's crazy going down that memory lane because it's been a very nice year, is what I'll
Yeah.
say. And it did not look anything like I pictured as I planned for years and years, but it looked 100 times better when I got to the end of the year. And I'm like, wow, I spent more time with my family this year than I have the prior 15 years combined. So
Wow.
it was one of those that just, it worked out very well.
All right. Sounds good. No, with that, and you kind of alluded to this a little bit, but spending 15 years as a movie theater manager, I know you've shared on Twitter years and years ago you worked at Gap, but when was there like one pivotal moment, or maybe a number of pivotal moments that the W-2 is not for me? I got to get out of here. I need more time freedom, etc.
So I did have an incident where I remember a boss saying that she liked working with the gays because she could work them harder because they don't have families. And I just remember sitting there
Whoa.
and I said to myself, no. And then I said, I think going to another job, I'm going to face these same types of crap.
Yep.
So I'm going to build up my own thing. And I actually started before, and I had just started actually making money with rentals. I probably had like 4 or 5 rentals when that went down. And
Okay.
my goal was to get to 10 and get out. And I got to 10 and just kept going. So I was actually at 16 at this time last year, and I'm at
Oh, wow.
21 now. I'm at 21 now. Um, so it was one of those that I didn't stop at 10, and I kept going with the rentals. And I
Sure.
knew job hopping to another job, I was going to face the same issues. So I didn't want to go down that road. I just would rather do my own thing. And I saw at that point when that happened, okay, I'm actually making a little bit of money. If I can do this like 5 more times, 10 more times, I can actually live off this little bit of money that I'm
Right.
generating from this. This is actually starting to make sense now.
Yep.
So that was my I don't want to do this anymore, and I have a plan to get out so I don't have to do this anymore.
Exactly. Makes sense. So, and then and going off a little bit of off script, so to speak, but I know you obviously do rental properties as well as myself, obviously building my portfolio too. But you've even shared on Twitter, you've done a number of, shall we say, side hustles, like selling stuff on eBay or reselling, to the point of flipping bras, which I just had to ask exactly what that was and what that entailed.
So, I've done bras for a long time, and it's not because I wear bras. It's because I saw the opportunity. It's a little inexpensive item, and I can make money from it. So I've always focused in on that. And then when I would do men's products, I could sell them, but for not as much profit.
Okay.
So there were several times along the way where, and even right now, I'm sitting in my eBay room. I sell makeup, I sell bras, I sell lotions and perfumes and all that kind of thing. I saw really early from working at the Gap that the people that are spending the money in there are usually the women. And
Mhm.
I saw that as an opportunity. So when I found, and that's what people are like, well, what do you sell and what won't you sell? I'm like, if I can make money on it, I'll figure out a way to sell it. And it was one of those where I found a phenomenal deal on some Macy's bras, and I they were a phenomenal deal in another state, and I had to get them down to the correct state to make some money on them. And then once we got them down here, I had to peel clearance stickers for days. And I've done that before where it's just, a couple hours a day of just peeling clearance stickers. Or there were times where I'd buy something close out and you had to mark out the name of the company that sold it. And
Okay.
as quickly as I peeled the stickers, I had a wholesaler who wanted them, and she was buying them from me as quick as I could get them to her, and
Wow.
she would take and flip them for more as well. So it was one of those that they were a good brand, they were a good quality. I just had to transport them, peel stickers, and then I already had the buyer waiting. And
Nice.
I have used that for the last 18 years to help me buy this real estate along the way as my
Wow.
side hustle. Because if I just waited for that movie theater income to pay the bills, I'd still be handing out popcorn right now.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So, oh wow. All right. So the when you first started, now obviously it was a year ago that you left your W-2 job. When did you make your I'm guessing there's two separate dates. When was your first real estate investment and when did you start reselling on eBay?
They were actually pretty close. I was really
Okay.
broke when I started in real estate. I was 21. I was in college, and I remember my rent was $375. And I'm like, I want to find somewhere that I can live for less than $375. And I'm like, well, I'm going to buy a duplex and live in
Okay.
one unit and rent out the other. And I was working at Gap at the time. I was probably making 850 an hour. And as I went to school debt free, and I wouldn't have been able to go to school debt free if I didn't start on eBay. So I actually started
Okay.
on eBay back in college. I got tuition reimbursement from the Gap, which was awesome,
Wow.
but
Nice.
but it did not cover books and the extras. So I started flipping out of necessity when I needed books for
Mhm.
college. I found a shopping cart full of purses at a closeout store up in Ohio, and they were $1.50. And I asked the cashier, I said, "Are these really $1.50?" And she said, "Yes." And I saw the brand and I saw the original retail price, and I'm like, I just pushed that whole cart up there, and I bought that shopping cart of purses, and this was even before eBay had Buy It Now, so I was selling them two at a time in auction style
Wow.
for several weeks because I had two different colors, and that helped me pay for my books that semester. And it helped me, it was reimbursement, so I had to pay for the semester up front, and then I'd get reimbursed at the end of the semester as
Okay.
long as I made my grades. So that kind of got the wheel rolling, so to speak, eBay, because the the little money that I was making at Gap that was coming in was paying for my rent and my everyday expenses.
Sure. Wow, very interesting. It's always interesting and I'd say inspirational to hear stories of that. I think everyone's been so hardwired of, oh, I need to find a job, I need to get a job, I need to get find an employer, I need to find a new job or whatever. It's like, no, at the end of the day, you just need to find an opportunity to make money, whether that's selling purses or a job if that, is the case. But I think if there's plenty of opportunities out there, so to speak.
I was speaking with a friend recently, and they were out of work for 4 months. And I said to her, I'm like, what's your other source of income? And she doesn't have one. And I'm like, we've been talking about this for 3 years. This is
Yep.
why I keep saying, how are you generating income? What can we do to generate income? And you have to shift that mindset of that employer is going to take care of you till the end. Because just like me, when I left last year, I was replaced in a few days, and
Yep.
everything moved forward. So I try and harp on that with friends and family or whoever will listen, and just be like,
Hmm.
how are you generating income? What are your other sources of income? How can you make
Right.
this work? And you know what? Maybe you have to buy a shopping cart full of purses, or maybe you have to buy some bras and peel clearance stickers, but that's how I made it work as I was building up my portfolio of real estate.
Yeah. So no, yeah, very well said. So with that being said, and everyone's kind of got their own story of, gosh, I miss my coworkers all the way to, gosh, I really miss my health insurance. It was dirt cheap at my employer, something like that. But if there was one thing you did miss from your old W-2, whether that was the movie theater or even a prior job, what would that be?
Gosh, I probably would miss some of the coworkers, but I also
Okay.
miss watching the movies. Like I remember when the Golden Globes came up not recently, and I'm like, man, I haven't heard of any of these movies, so I'm a little out of the loop in the movies now.
Okay.
But that's okay, because I will take the ability to fill my calendar with things that matter to me over being current on the movies. And then if I
Sure.
really wanted to, I could just go in and watch a movie today, this afternoon, if I really wanted to. So
Right.
I would say the movies, and I do have, my core group of coworkers that I keep in touch with.
Okay.
So and still, we'll meet up and go hang out occasionally, and that works perfect for me. I don't need to see them every day and work next to them. And I encourage them as they're building up their multiple sources of income, so they don't
Yeah.
have to continue to do that till they're 90.
Right. No, makes sense. So, and as we're closing in 1 year, obviously you've been on your entrepreneurial, real estate investment journey, since college, really, but either since the very beginning or in the last year when you have not had a W-2 job at all, what would you say has been the best part of your journey?
The best part of my journey is like the impromptu trips home to visit family, the impromptu trips. I last year when I wrote out my goals, I'm like, I'm going to take a vacation this year, because I was really not taking vacations, and I jumped on planes
Mm,
twice last year and took little 4-day trips. So I didn't have that ability, and I also didn't have the ability. I had a family member pass away this summer, and I was able to jump on a plane and go hang out with my grandma for a week, and that was just something that you just couldn't do when you worked at a theater. You could have a day or two off to go do it, but you just didn't have that ownership of time. So
right.
all around, it's just having the flexibility to do what I want when I want. And
Yeah.
if I need a lazy day, I don't have to give any excuses or doctor's notes or anything.
Yeah.
I can have a lazy day. And I didn't have that ability before.
Yeah. Or get some pushback from HR. It's like, well, this request didn't go through the proper channels and you need 2.5 weeks heads up and approval from 15 subcommittees to get that. So where you can just make the decision, that's all the best.
I put in a request off for my wedding, and I'll never forget the comment from my boss at the time. And they were like, James Bond is coming out that weekend. I'm like, I'm getting married that weekend. I don't care what's coming out that weekend.
Let's see here.
Right. Right. So
Wow.
I,
Yeah, it
I
just
don't
goes.
miss that.
Yeah, it just goes to show of how much employers, and I think there's an old adage of, if you died in your job, they would have the job position posted before your obituary, which it's like, what's the old adage? Work to live, but don't live to work. So,
100%.
all right. Well, now, obviously you mentioned, you got a large following on Twitter. You've talked to coach people, friends, family, coworkers and stuff. For anyone out there that maybe is in your similar position, just has one source of income, either doesn't have a side hustle or doesn't have forms of passive income, like rental properties, for instance, and maybe they hate their job, maybe they just feel stuck, maybe they, yeah, Tom can do this, but there's no way I can, or something like that. What advice would you give to them?
So I get that question a lot, especially on Twitter, and I can't answer what you should do for a side hustle, but I can say this. I can say, what do you like doing? There's been several clients along the way, and I am not a huge baker, but I have a friend that bakes cookies as a side hustle. I have a friend that walks dogs as a side hustle. There's so many different ways to generate income. I need you to pick something that you actually like doing. And the friend that I was talking about, now that we've had that conversation, she's a mobile notary, and
Oh, cool.
it doesn't, it's not enough to supplement her full job, but it's bringing in some income, so
Yep.
she is generating something rather than just, okay, my income has dried up, I have nothing to go by. So
Mhm.
what do you like? What can you be passionate about? And what can you enjoy doing? And, the person who does the baking and the dog walking, they love what they're doing. And when I buy something for $1 and turn around and flip it for 20, I love it. It's a
Mhm.
hobby, it's a pastime. And this past year I thought I'd do a ton of eBay, but I found my priorities went elsewhere. And that's what's nice about it, is I can do as little or as much as possible. And I had a
Mhm.
really expensive August, and when these bills were coming in, I'm like, I should start working on eBay a little bit more.
Yep.
And I ramped up my eBay sales and listed more product and did some sales at my shop. So I think that that's what's great about these different sources of income, is it's not to retire you, but it's something to give you that nest egg. So if something does happen,
Yeah.
hey, I've got this little bit coming in. And that's how it started with the rentals. I was never making a ton at the beginning, and it was okay, but I could, I've got $400 coming in from this one, or $500 profit
Mhm.
from this one. And it was a little peace of mind, like, okay, if this one dries up and I quit my job completely or lose my job tomorrow, I've got this and this and this coming in.
Yeah. So no, it makes sense. So now, as we wrap this up, Tom, and again, I want to thank you for taking the time to uh, be on my show this afternoon. For any, for the rest of 2023, I'll one day come up with a really cool marketing title for this, but I call it the soapbox moment. But any new projects or rental purchases you're making, or anything you're really excited about 2023 here?
So I just left a rental property about 10 minutes before we got on, and
Okay.
I'm closing on it. At the end of the month, I met a contractor over there. So I do have some rental properties in the pipeline. I have some other options coming in the pipeline as well, meaning I get contacted all the time about, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And my answer has always been no, no, no. I don't want to be a partner. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I've worked out some things where I know that everyone's in different spots in their journey. So I came up with a 3-plan thing on how I can help other people beyond coaching, because you
Okay.
can only do so much hand holding. And
Right.
we're going to be doing some. I'm still going to continue to do the coaching, but I'm going to also do deal finder. So if you get stuck and you're in one of the 2 markets that I invest in, hey, I see this deal. Is this something that you're interested in? And pass them a deal that says, hey, when I run the numbers on this all makes sense. This might be something worth looking for. So I'm doing some deal finding, and then I'm also doing some strategic partnerships that make sense. And it's the people who need more than just hand holding. They want me to do the work for them. I will do that under certain circumstances, because I know that there's some that are like, I have the money, but I don't have the energy to rehab a house like you do.
Right.
So I'm open to those as well, and those are all new. And then of course I still do the coaching, and I have intro sessions up there on that. And then I'm also doing a couple of projects with other content creators where we're working on some before and after projects, and
Oh,
I'm
cool.
excited to show those off as they come out, because it's stuff I've been working on for the past 6 months, and I've been quiet in the background, but it'll come out with a bang when I start showing off some of the work that I did last year.
And when you say showing off, I'm guessing through Twitter, or do you utilize other channels for that as well?
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm
Okay.
trying to do individual content for each, and I'm doing it's the same screen name on all 3.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I technically have a TikTok handle. I've never done anything with it. Now all the stuff from China and other people going off. It's like, yeah, I'm kind of on the wait and see. I'm busy enough with all the other social media platforms. So,
It's same with me. I put my energy and effort into Twitter, but then I also put some energy and effort over into the other ones, because I don't want one to. It's like income. You don't want that Twitter to dry up, and then
mm-hmm.
all you're out of luck. Or I had a problem with Instagram early on where I lost my account, and I don't want that to
Mm-hmm.
happen with a
Yeah.
hacker. So I try and put energy into other ones just in case one of them has an issue.
Yeah. No, makes sense. So, one final thing you mentioned, just curious, what 2 markets do you primarily invest in?
I am in Toledo, Ohio, and I
Okay.
am in the Dallas Fort Worth area in
Okay.
Texas.
Okay. Sounds good. Dallas Fort Worth. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, I want to respect your time, Tom, and thanks again for joining me on the show. And look forward to seeing all those pictures on Instagram and Twitter of your rehabs of the rentals.
Very excited. Thank you for having me and allowing me to share part of my story. And I appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks.